Today we're going to do this video. It's going to be a really quick video. We're going to bench bleed a Willwood master cylinder. So that's going to be today. You're not going to want to miss that. We've got some cool Willwood brake stuff, and we're going to bench bleed it and get your master cylinder ready to go in the car. I was on the fence about going with Willwood or just going with a cheap master cylinder that would work. I bit the bullet, went with Willwood. I heard so much good stuff about it. I'm not running Willwood brakes all the way around on my car. I'm running factory 68 model front discs, and I'm running Ford Explorer rear disc off of a 98 Ford Explorer on that 8.8 inch rear end. So long story short, I'm going to be running Willwood master cylinder, different disc brakes in the back from, you know, year model and everything than the ones in the front. So I'm going to have to do some stuff to mine. This is a Willwood proportion valve. What this is going to do is this is going to make it possible for me to get the right amount of rear brake pressure and front brake pressure when you apply the brake. Most of your braking comes from your front wheels, and so you have to have a proportioning valve, you know, set so that you doesn't lock up your back brakes. So we'll talk about that more later. Today, specifically, what I want to talk about is this right here. This is our Willwood master cylinder. I am running manual brakes, and here's some of the fittings, but I'm running manual brakes. This is the Willwood master cylinder. Look at this. Look at that little ditty. Woo, son. That's a slick looking little dude. Anyway, that's it. It's got, and I'll put information in the description about the particular piston size because I am running manual brakes, no assist. 7/8, that's what it is. It's 7/8 piston size. This is the master cylinder. So what we're going to do is we're going to bleed this master cylinder today. I'm going to bench bleed it. You need to do that before you run it, and I'll show you how to do it.
So here I am looking over the instructions. One of the things that I discovered is that the instructions are somewhat incomplete on this master cylinder, which that's just par for stuff. You just got to kind of figure it out. Here's some of the parts and fittings. I will say this, it's a very complete kit. Everything I needed to attach the master cylinder to the proportion valve and everything, all of that was there. So that was good. It's a good setup.
When that was in the car, this is the side that's facing the passenger side, so this is just blocked off. What I went ahead and did is I put Teflon tape on all of these little fittings, and some of you are going to tell me in the comments that that's unnecessary because probably it seals based on this washer. I don't know. I don't feel like Teflon tape can hurt it. I did pay particular attention not to get the Teflon tape in front of the hydraulic port there. So I think we're good. Obviously on the flared end side, it's going to seal off the flare. But on these, I felt like Teflon tape might be good. And again, in the comments, feel welcome to rip me if I'm not doing it correct. So put these plugs in. This is the plug side that's closed off because on your brake cylinder, on your master cylinder, you can set it up where the brake lines come off of either side. Mine's going to come off on the driver's side, which is where the proportioning valve is going to be located. So these will be blocked off. Some of you are saying that's the reason why you don't use Teflon tape, because it will not go in the threads. And you may be right. Or maybe there's something wrong with my threads. What's going on? There they go. No, you were wrong. See, look at that.
You know, I say pay somewhat close attention on how you put these fittings in. You know, I did use Teflon tape on mine. I'm sure in the comments, some of you will say not to do that, but I was pretty thorough and trying to get them as tight as I could get them set in there as good as I could. Obviously, you know, brake fluid's thin, and you might have a chance of that stuff seeping out. One of the things about bench bleeding your master cylinder that they emphasize, and again, this is the first time I've ever bench bled a master cylinder, so I don't in any way want you guys to think that I'm an expert of it, but it does say get it level. Evidently, if it's not level, bubbles can hide in the master cylinder, and you need to get all of those out. These are the tubes that are provided for you to bench bleed your master cylinder. These little fittings are just simple plastic fittings that fit in the side of your master cylinder that would be going to your proportion valve. And remember, this master cylinder is universal. You can put fittings on either side. So these ports could be on the other side. If it's advantageous in your particular car to make these ports be on the other side of your master cylinder, you can. You just remove the plugs or move the plugs to this side and the fittings to that side, or I guess initially that's what you'd probably want to do. But anyway, it's pretty straightforward. There's a little clip that holds these tubes. You know, what the point is these tubes are going to be over into the master cylinder itself so that when you bleed it, those tubes can't draw air back in. And so ultimately, you're going to get all of the air out of any of the piston area or whatever else where air can hide in your master cylinder. Wellwood calls for this DOT3. I used a synthetic DOT3 brake fluid. I don't know the difference in brake fluid, so I'm not even going to pretend. But I know you needed to fill this up to where it was kind of past the full line, and these tubes, the ends of them would be ultimately submerged in the brake fluid so that, you know, once they belch the air out, it would not return to back into the system. So just making sure after all the torquing around and moving around that we're still level, because they really emphasize that being kind of important. And for the most part, I'm pretty level. So this is where we start the purging process itself. If you'll notice, I built me a little piece of 2x4 that was just a scrap piece. I drilled a hole in it, and as you shove that in, the bubbles start coming out. And I was amazed at how much air is actually in your master cylinder. And part of me says, and I'm just going to say this and you can take it for what it's worth, I feel like you're probably better off having done this in the car. I know you'd have to maybe jack the car up or whatever to try to get that level, but I kind of feel like it's better in your car, because now when I go to put this master cylinder in, it's draining brake fluid out, and mine drained all the fluid out before I could actually get it installed. So it was super messy. There's a part of me that says that there's probably a better way than this. I don't know what it is. But anyway, this is how you bench bleed a master cylinder, and it's getting all the air out. So now there's a little boot that goes on the back of the plunger rod, and this keeps dirt and junk out of there, I reckon. And so I'm installing that. It was like trying to stinking pull a balloon over the top of your head. I mean, it was a lot to it. But anyway, got it on there. Got that done. I did ultimately install the master cylinder in the car. I did not include that information because I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Plus, I just needed to get it done. I'm kind of behind on the work, but I would put Loctite on these. All of these fittings, you definitely don't want that thing popping off while you're driving down the road. And I did ultimately put Loctite on those when I put it in the car and installed it in the car. And so I'll have a video coming up where I did brake lines and hooked everything up ultimately, and it was a fiasco. I'm just going to be honest with you. I hate brakes. Putting on brakes is kind of like painting a wall. I just didn't enjoy it. But there it is, installed in the car. I think it looks really, really good. Manual brakes, and I think that's going to help my Mustang stop and keep me from running out of where I want to run out of. So anyway, I'll have another video coming up soon. See you guys then.